Even with science, logic, and psychology, some predictions of death remain unexplained, cases that defy reason, coincidence, or biological warning signs. These are the stories that haunt historians, psychologists, and ordinary people alike because they suggest something beyond what we can measure or analyze. Take Rasputin, the infamous Russian mystic. Rasputin claimed he could foresee danger and death, not just for himself, but for others around him. He predicted multiple assassination attempts and survived them all, only to eventually die in 1916. According to accounts, before his final death, he reportedly told friends he would not die easily, yet he described in unsettling detail how he would be killed. The reality played out almost exactly as he described: shot multiple times, poisoned, and finally drowned. It's a story that has baffled historians for over a century. Then there's Anna Bogenholm, a Swedish radiologist who survived a near-death incident. In 1999, she fell into an icy stream and was trapped under the ice for more than an hour. While she didn't predict her death beforehand, she later described an intense awareness during the ordeal, as if part of her mind knew the timeline of her body shutting down and kicking back to life. Though she survived, her case is often cited in studies of near-death awareness, where people describe knowing their death was imminent, yet somehow still conscious of it. Even in everyday life, there are countless stories of ordinary people who knew something was coming. A man who cancels a flight last minute only to find out the plane crashed. A woman who hesitates before crossing the street and later learns that a car ran the red light seconds after she stepped back. Many of these stories are dismissed as coincidence, but when repeated over generations, they suggest that humans may have a deeper subconscious connection to danger, fate, or death itself. The chilling part is that some people not only sense death, they embrace it. They prepare letters, say goodbye to loved ones, and even laugh about their timing, almost as if knowing it releases them from fear. It's a strange mix of acceptance and prophecy, where life and death become intertwined in a way most of us can barely imagine. Ultimately, these stories leave us with questions that science cannot fully answer. Are these premonitions purely coincidence, biological intuition, or glimpses into something beyond human understanding? Are they a natural survival instinct or a subtle warning from the universe? And if some part of the human mind truly can sense its own ending, what does that say about the nature of life, time, and consciousness itself? Because when people predict their own deaths, whether through dreams, visions, calm warnings, or precise final words, they remind us of one undeniable truth: death is the one certainty in life, and for some, the awareness of it comes long before it arrives. The line between life and destiny, intuition and prophecy, is thinner than we think, and the stories of those who knew their time was near continue to haunt us, challenge us, and leave a question no one can answer. What can we learn from these extraordinary stories of people who predicted their own deaths? Beyond the shock, the fear, and the eerie coincidences, there's a subtle lesson about awareness, acceptance, and the fleeting nature of life. These individuals remind us that death is not always sudden or invisible. Sometimes our minds sense it long before our bodies follow, and how they reacted to that knowledge varies, giving us insight into courage, calm, and even wisdom. Take Mark Twain, for example. He didn't panic or fear the comet he predicted would mark his death. He accepted it with wit and humor, turning a cosmic coincidence into a signature story of his life. Or Randy Pausch, who used the awareness of his terminal condition to focus on legacy, love, and the things that truly mattered. These people teach us that knowledge of our mortality doesn't have to be paralyzing. It can be clarifying. It can sharpen priorities, deepen relationships, and inspire extraordinary action in the time we still have. But the darker side is just as real. Those who predicted their deaths in fear, dread, or depression often show us how powerful the human mind can be in aligning thoughts and outcomes, sometimes tragically. The cases of Etika or Chris McCandless highlight that a premonition alone isn't always enough to save someone. It underscores that awareness without support, action, or guidance can lead to despair or fatal choices. Psychologists suggest one reason people may sense their own deaths is that our brains are constantly analyzing patterns, risks, and internal changes, signals we're not consciously aware of. This subtle intuition can manifest as dreams, gut feelings, or emotional calm before death. But the stories also hint at something more mysterious: the possibility that human consciousness may have ways of perceiving its own end beyond logic and science. In a sense, those who predicted their deaths become teachers from beyond the ordinary flow of life. They challenge us to think about our own mortality, to notice the subtle signs our minds and bodies might give, and to live more deliberately while we still can. Perhaps perhaps that's the ultimate lesson. Whether through dreams, warnings, or uncanny premonitions, awareness of death is not meant to terrify. It's meant to awaken. Because in the end, life is unpredictable. Death is certain. And the stories of those who knew before it came remind us that sometimes understanding and accepting the inevitable is the most profound wisdom of all. Even after all these documented cases, the truth is that many stories of death premonitions remain unfinished. Countless people may have sensed their end, but left no record, no letters, no final words. Their warnings, their dreams, their gut feelings disappeared with them, leaving only a lingering sense of mystery. History only remembers those who documented it, who spoke about it, or who left behind evidence that was later connected to their faith. For every Abraham Lincoln or James Dean, there are countless others whose premonitions went unnoticed or were dismissed as mere intuition. What makes these stories haunting is not just their accuracy, but the human response to them. Some reacted with fear, some with calm, and some even with humor. Some tried to change their fate, only to find it unavoidable. And in that struggle lies the most unsettling question. If death can sometimes be sensed, can it ever truly be avoided? Or are we all, in some way, participants in a timeline already written, with only our choices along the way shaping the journey, not the ultimate ending? Modern technology continues to capture new cases. Social media posts, videos, and digital journals often reveal people speaking their final truths in ways that are instantly preserved. Every post, every message becomes a testament to the eerie reality that some people know when their time is near. And in the age of instant communication, these predictions are no longer just personal experiences. They are shared with the world, leaving others to grapple with shock, disbelief, and sometimes a chilling sense of inevitability. Perhaps the most important takeaway from these unfinished stories is a lesson in awareness. Life is fleeting. Death is inevitable. But those who sensed their end before it came remind us that our time is limited and that even the smallest premonition, a gut feeling, a dream, or a quiet whisper to ourselves deserves attention. It may not predict the future with perfect clarity, but it can deepen our understanding of life, compel us to value each moment, and inspire us to leave our own mark before the final curtain falls. In the end, the stories of people who predicted their own deaths are more than eerie coincidences. They are mirrors, reflections of mortality, intuition, and the mysterious ways the human mind grapples with the one certainty that awaits us all. And while we may never fully understand why some people can sense the end before it comes, their lives and warnings continue to captivate, unsettle, and remind us of the delicate balance between life, fate, and the unknown. By now, it's clear that predicting one's own death isn't just a macabre curiosity. It's a window into the profound mysteries of human consciousness. The people we've talked about, from historic figures like Abraham Lincoln to modern individuals captured on video or social media, reveal a strange intersection of intuition, biology, and perhaps something beyond our understanding. They show us that death isn't always sudden or entirely unknowable. Sometimes the mind senses the end long before the body confirms it. What's particularly striking is the emotional spectrum of these premonitions. Some approach death with fear or anxiety, warning loved ones in desperation. Others accepted it calmly, leaving final messages or living their last days with purpose and intentionality. This contrast highlights a fundamental truth. Awareness of mortality can either paralyze or empower. It can drive despair, or it can inspire meaning, legacy, and clarity in the time that remains. Even more unsettling is the unanswered question of how many people experience these premonitions without ever sharing them. How many quietly sense the approach of death, perhaps altering their actions subconsciously without anyone realizing it. Every unrecorded premonition becomes part of the silent, invisible tapestry of human experience, a whisper of inevitability that only the mind can hear. Some scientists argue that this is purely physiological. Subtle changes in the heart, brain, or other organs send signals that the subconscious picks up, translating into dreams, gut feelings, or intuition. Others believe there may be a metaphysical dimension, a way for consciousness to perceive the end before it physically occurs. Whatever the explanation, the stories remain eerily consistent. Humans, unlike most other creatures, sometimes know when the final chapter is near, and sometimes
they even know the details. Perhaps the ultimate lesson from all of this is simple, yet profound. Life is fragile, and death is certain. The experiences of those who predicted their own deaths invite us to reflect on our own lives, to recognize the fleeting nature of time, and to live with more intention and awareness. They remind us that every moment matters, that each connection, each choice, each act of love or courage is part of a story that will one day end. And in that reflection lies the haunting beauty of these stories. They are a reminder not just of death, but of the remarkable human capacity to sense, prepare for, and even face it with awareness. For some, that awareness comes as a warning, for others as a gift, and for all of us, it is an invitation to truly see life before it slips away.